Hi YouTube, Tim Uckert here. In this video, we're going to factor quadratics where the number in front of x squared is not 1. So let's consider problem 1 here. We're going to factor 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. So this number 6 is obviously not 1. So we're going to use this technique where we use the number, which is called a coefficient. So the number in front of x squared times this last number, which is called a constant. So we're going to do 6 times 2. And that's going to give us 12. Okay, and then we're going to list the factors of 12, and we're going to find the pair of factors that adds up to this coefficient here in front of x, so that adds up to 7. So I could start listing them out. I could do 1 times 12, but that adds to 13, so that doesn't work. I could do 2 times 6, that adds to 8, a little bit closer. But 3 times 4, I go, oh, okay, that works. So now we're going to rewrite this quadratic here into 6x squared plus 3x. So I'm using this first number here, and I'm breaking apart this 7x here, plus 4x, which is this number here. So I've just changed 7x to 3x plus 4x, so it's the same thing. I'm just rewriting this, which we can do. And then we have the plus 2 on the end. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to focus on the first two terms here. So this 6x squared and this 3x. And what I want to look for is the greatest common factor that I can factor out of both of those. So the greatest common factor here is 3x. So if I factor out a 3x, I'm left with now 3x times 2x gives me 6x squared, and 3x times 1 gives me 3x. Okay, so I've just changed this to 3x times, let me draw it a little bit better, 3x times 2x plus 1. Okay, now I want to look at the last two terms in this quadratic, so the 4x plus 2. So I want to factor out the greatest common factor from those two. In this case, it would be the number 2, so plus 2, and then 2 times 2x will give me 4x, and 2 times 1 will give me 2. Now notice here that these two right here, these two binomials are the same, and we need them to be the same. If they're not the same, you might want to go back, you've messed something up, okay? And the reason we need them to be the same is we're working backwards from the double distribution method, essentially. So I'm going to take this 3x and the plus 2 and put them into a binomial. So 3x plus 2. And then we're going to multiply it by this 2x plus 1. So we've just gone backwards of the double distribution method, which I believe I have a video of this on my channel. So if you are unfamiliar with that, you might want to check that out. So this is our solution. This is our factor form, 3x plus 2 times 2x plus 1. And we are done with that particular problem. Okay, let's look at the next one, because practice does make perfect. And I would encourage you, as I go through these problems, to pause the video and try them on your own, and then see how I did them. All right, so this next one, we're factoring 4x squared plus 11x minus 3. So we're going to take the 4, we're going to multiply it times negative 3. So 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And we want to look for the factors of negative 12 that add to positive 11 here. So, you know, if you know what the factors are, you don't have to list them all out. So I would know that a negative 1 times a positive 12, well, that's going to give me, it's going to multiply to negative 12 and add to positive 11. So I'm going to rewrite this binomial here as 4x squared minus 1x plus 12x minus 3. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the first two terms here. So this 4x squared and the minus 1x. And I'm going to look for the greatest common factor, which in this case is just going to be x. So if I factor out x, I'm going to have x times 4x minus 1. And then I'm going to look at the last two terms here, so the 12x plus 3. And the greatest common factor here is going to be 3. So if I factor out a 3, well, 3 times 4x gives me 12x, and 3 times minus 1 gives me minus 3, or 3 times negative 1 gives me negative 3. Okay, so like I said, you want those binomials, this binomial and this binomial, to be the same. They are, so that's good. We can work backwards from double distribution and write our first binomial here in the factored form as x plus 3, and our second one as 4x minus 1. And we have successfully factored this second problem. Okay, let's go take a look at problem 3. So in this one we have 15x squared minus 9x minus 6. So we're going to take the 15, multiply it by negative 6. And that's going to be negative 90. And then we want to look to the factors of negative 90 that would add to negative 9. Okay, so well, I'm thinking we could do let's see, positive 1 times negative 90. That's going to be not anywhere close. Let's do positive 2 times negative 45. Still not close. Positive 3 times negative 30. We're still at negative 27. We're getting closer. We could do 6 times negative 15, and that gives us negative 9. So I'm going to rewrite this as 15x squared plus 6x minus 15x minus 6. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to look at the first two terms, this 15x squared and the 6x, and factor out the greatest common factor, which in this case will be 3x. So we're going to take 3x out. So do 3x, and 3x times 5x gives us 15x squared, and 3x times 2 gives us 6x. Now we want to look at the next two. So this minus 15x minus 6. So again, what can I factor out that's the greatest common factor? Well, this minus 3 is greatest common factor. So negative 3 times 5x is negative 15x, and negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Okay, so now we have this binomial and this binomial are the same. That's good. We need that to happen. We're going to move these backwards from double distribution to get 3x minus 3 times 5x plus 2, and that's going to be our quadratic in factored form. Okay, this last one, we have 20x squared plus 23x minus 21. We're going to multiply 20 times negative 21. And that's going to be a negative 420. Okay, when we want to start to list the factors that are going to add to positive 23. So, I'm going to start a little closer. I'm not going to list all the factors. Let's do negative 6 times 70. That's still a bit off. Obviously, that's going to be 64. Let's try negative 12 times 35. And if I do that, negative 12 plus 35 actually adds to positive 23. So I'm going to rewrite this quadratic as 20x squared minus 12x plus 35x minus 21. Now we're going to go through our process. We're going to look at the first two terms, find the greatest common factor that we can factor out, which in this case is going to be 4x. So we're going to take 4x out. 4x times 5x gives us 20x squared, and then 4x times negative 3 gives us the negative 12x. Okay, and then now we want to look at the last two terms here, the 35x and the minus 21. 7 is the greatest common factor for both of those. So if I do 7 times 5x, that gives me 35x. And then 7 times a negative 3 gives me negative 21. These two here, this one and this one, are the same. So we're going to go backwards from double distribution and write this as 4x plus 7 times 5x minus 3. And that's our quadratic in factored form. Hopefully this video was helpful to you. If it was, and you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. Also, if you want to check out, I have a link to my Teacher Pay Teacher store in the description, as well as a link to my website in case you want to check any of those out. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.